Alright, so I've said it before and I'll say it again. I think the 450 engine is the best engine that CFMOTO has ever made. And I also think that it's the best 400 to 450 engine in its class. And obviously, it's a no-brainer that they will use the exact same engine for their flagship bike that's responsible of putting CFMOTO in the map. And yes, it's the 450 NK by CFMOTO. So there you go, the all-new 450 NK by CFMOTO. And yes, this is an all-new bike for the 450 NK series, but this is the exact same engine that you'd find on the 450 SR. Half of the bike is a 450 SR. From the swing arm to the pipe, everything from here to here is all from the 450 SR. So if you've watched my 450 SR video, you'd know that it's almost the same bike. And I think the 450 NK is an even better bike. Okay, so first things first, let's talk about the looks. So the bike comes in different colors. So we have this blue and white combination and another black and white variant. A lot of people said that it looks like a baby 800 NK because of the headlights, but it still does resemble the older 400 NK. But yeah, styling wise, CFMOTO nailed it again on this one. You can tell that it's still a CFMOTO from afar and it looks very sharp and aggressive. I think a lot of people will love this one. It's much lighter, it's much faster. Literally everything has been improved from the older 400 NK. Okay, so now let's go into the details, because for the price that this still retails at, you'd be surprised that they were able to put all this tech in this bike. For starters, we have a projector headlights, which is really bright and sharp at night. We also have animated headlights, and it really does add premiumness to a bike of its class. We also have inverted forks, which I think is similar to the 450 SR, but obviously this one has the handlebars compared to the 450 SR's clip-ons. Moving down here, we have an interesting front mudguard. I'm really loving the design and how the color pops. Moving down here, we have dual ABS front and rear, and we also have J-Hill ones, and I was actually quite impressed by the stopping power on this ones. I think it's partially because of the weight of the bike, so it has no problem stopping the bike at ease. Wrapping the bikes, we have 17-inch CST tires, pretty good daily tires I'd say, matched with this awesome looking spoke, and they even have this highlight stickers on the side that adds sportiness and character to the overall look of the bike. But now let's move to the engine. It's a first in its class 270-degree crank engine, so it's a parallel twin engine, unlike most new bikes that are coming out today, like the new 400 Triumphs, the new KTMs with their single cylinders, and I think this is the only one with a twin cylinder and a 270-degree crank. So engine wise, I still think this is best in its class, especially with all the tech and the price that it comes with. And it's also a very capable engine. Linear, yes, but it has power all throughout from lows to highs. I think I was able to do around 150, but one of the media guys told me that they were able to do 190 kilometers per hour on this one on the highways. But yeah, this is perfect for daily use, which I think is the market for the NK series anyway. Build quality wise, I mean, there's nothing much to be said here. It looks and feels very premium, even better than some European and Japanese brands. I'm just not a fan of this faux carbon fiber, but I can live with that. And as you all know, I visited the CFMOTO factory where they also make the KTMs. And fun fact, this is actually a KTM turn signal because CFMOTO makes KTMs in their CFMOTO China factory, so they share some technology. I think this should have been the new KTM engine, but I think it's a good call that CFMOTO wanted this engine for themselves, because of now it's safe to say that this is the best engine in its class. Okay, so moving here towards the back, we have premium CNC parts. So everything here not just looks premium, also feels premium. This one is non-removable. So if you want to remove this, you have to mount the muffler to the subframe somehow. Looking at it from afar, it looks like a CNC subframe and a swing arm, but it's only how they covered it with good quality plastic because it gives it that more premium look. But these are all metal parts from the swing arm to the subframe. Pipe-wise, I think this is the best sounding engine, obviously because it's a twin cylinder and a 270-degree crank. But yeah, looks wise here at the back, like I said, this is all 450 SR. Even the taillights, the fins, the mud flaps, all taken from the 450 SR. Good because it gives the bike an overall sporty looks. But the downside is the passenger is gonna have a hard time back riding with you, especially if it's a daily thing. Because obviously this was designed for a sports bike, so the passenger sits higher and the seat is not as comfortable as the original NK. So do keep that in mind. Back here we have the same turn signal. We also have the fins here from the 450 SR. And we also have CFMOTO's signature pulsating taillight. But yeah, other than that, looks wise from the rear, it looks very tidy and sporty, just like how the buyers of this bike will like it. Okay, so now let's hop on the bike. I'm 5'7" or 175 centimeters, and I can pretty much flat foot this bike, no problem. I think shorter riders will also have no problems because it's extremely light. They can even opt to use this on a daily basis. But yeah, I think the seat and the texture is nice, but I think there has been some creasing here. This one can be fixed easily. Hopefully it's only this unit. Hopping on the bike is no problem at all, and I can very much flat foot it. It's crazy because it doesn't feel like a 450cc bike. Comparing it to the older 400NK, this one feels almost like half the weight. I'm not even sure how CFMOTO was able to pull that off, especially now that this bike has way more tech, way more power for an even more competitive price. So yeah, props to CFMOTO for that. But looking at it from the driver's perspective, the plastic cladding for the tank fits me perfectly, almost as if it was designed around me. So like I said, I'm 5'7", and I think this is the most comfortable position you could ever get for a naked bike. Parts-wise, everything feels premium. All the fairings are obviously plastic, but these ones are really well made, especially these ones. I think they almost look too polished. So yeah, we have a CFMOTO branding here, and surprisingly, we also have a CFMOTO branded master cylinder here and a CFMOTO branded handbrake, which I think the 450SR also has for this bike. Side mirror wise, I think the 450SR had the best sports bike mirror, but I think for the naked class, this is one of the nicest side mirrors you can get for the price. It's very sturdy, lots of adjustments surprisingly, and it looks really good with this bike. But yeah, moving down here, we have fairly decent rubber grips and bar ends. These ones are backlit, so we have your hazard switch and your on and off switch. Okay, so moving here to the left, we have your horn, left and right turn signals, and your back enter for the menu, which I will talk about later, and your low and high beam. I think this is the lightest clutch ever I've tried on the bike, and I actually just noticed that both levers are actually adjustable. And I think most beginners and commuters would love this because it takes out the stress in traffic and when shifting. But like I said, it might not be for everyone because most experienced riders would probably prefer a more attention clutch lever. But if you ask me, given a choice, I would probably go with this one, especially in the traffic, which this bike is designed for in the first place. Okay, so now let's start out the bike. So the animation does load a little bit slower than the 800NK, and it's nice and sunny out here, and I can see the infos really clearly. But for the price, you're getting this really beautiful TFT display, and I actually like that it's not overly styled. So you have your gear shift indicator and some of your basic info here, which you can toggle with a down button. You have your liters per kilometer, you also have your time traveled, you have your average fuel consumption, distance, range, and battery voltage. And then moving down here, we have a fuel gauge. Fuel consumption wise, I'd say it's average and definitely dailyable. Moving here to the left, you have your engine temperature and some of the menus. So to enter the menu, just press enter, and then you'll be greeted by lots of information, which displays the temperature, the battery voltage, and the gas. You also have your metrics for the kilometers consumption. It's nice that CFMOTO even added this warning, so any engine problems, it will pop up here. And we also have your service, so if this bike is due for a service, you can see the remaining distance until you can bring it to the dealership or to Motostrada. We also have phone connectivity for phone and messages. We can even change the dash configurations. So right now it's in Concision, and there's also the classic design. Personally, I prefer the classic. It looks much sportier. It almost feels like a cockpit of a fighter pilot. But yeah, sometimes depends on my mood. I just switch it back and forth to those two styles. So you have your Concision and classic, and then here you can even change the units and then languages, because this is a global bike and it's even sold in the US. You also have your trip reset, overspeed alarm, so this is like a speed limit thing, gear change reminders. Personally, I just turn this off. We also have brightness for the screen, automatic, so this is the stuff that you don't notice, but it's obviously very useful. And surprisingly, we also have traction control. I mean, for a bike of this price point, you're getting traction control. So yeah, a much safer bike is always a welcome change. Dash wise, it's very clear, very simple, and you can even see your bike here with a side stand sensor. So when I put that up, overall, I think this is a really good dash, even better than some of the more premium models. Really, the only thing missing here is maybe a quick shifter and riding modes, but then again, that will increase the price even more, and none of the other brands are doing it. So I think for starters, traction control on this one is the best way to go. Plus, I think the reason why they added traction control for this one, because personally, I think the lightness of the bike affects how it rides. I feel like the bike is sometimes too light that it loses the front easily. Hence, maybe one of the reasons why they added traction control, or it can just be me. I'm not really used to light bikes. But yeah, engine wise, like I said, it has power from low to high, very linear. This engine is actually very important to CFMOTO because this will be their base engine, or they're one of their flagships. So from this engine, they were able to build up the CLC, the SR, the NK. Personally, I can't wait for the future engines of CFMOTO. But yeah, yeah, overall perfect beginner bike for all those who are just starting, especially with the price and the weight. So if you want to use this for daily or for highways, you can't really go wrong with this one. I think overall, this is a better package than the 450 SR because the NK series is what put CFMOTO in the map in the first place. Engine-wise, this is one of my favorite engines. Very capable engine, extremely light. I mean, there's really nothing much I would change on this bike. But yeah, I can't wait for what other variants CFMOTO would come up from this engine. I can imagine this one would be great for off-roading. But yeah, other than that, I think it almost certainly does live up to the hype of the 400NK. Although the 400NK does look a little bit more macho than this one, because this one obviously lost a lot more weight and is clearly sharper in every angle. It has a good sounding exhaust, traction control, dual ABS, extremely light clutch, and very easy to neutral. So clearly one of the better bikes for daily use and even highways. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I've had this bike for almost 3 weeks now, and I really don't want to return it because it's just so easy and effortless to ride. The NK series is definitely one of CFMOTO's most important bikes in their lineup because this is what put their brand in the map in the first place, at least here in the Philippines. At the rate that CFMOTO is producing bikes, I can't wait what else is in store for this engine. And personally, the 400NK was my dream bike before I started riding. When I first saw it in the street, it really looked nothing else. And now I think the 450NK more than lives up to the hype of the 400NK. But yeah, that's pretty much it. If you like this video, hit the like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.